All right, let me do this real quick here. We're running, man, I can't believe we're already at 5:30. Let me do this, just these last two real quick. I will not spend much time, but I wanted to mention worship, seeing worship and communion from a new covenant perspective. Could I touch on these quickly? Okay, and we'll do a little Q&A or eat and do a Q&A later, okay? But let's do this. Okay, worship. For starters, look at the ridiculous theology in so much of our worship, you know? Take me into the Holy of Holies. Where do you think you are right now? Create in me a clean heart. I gave you a new one. Purify my heart. You still haven't heard me. We think that by repetition, it's going to actually work. Look, let me tell you something. We're begging God to reaccomplish what he's already done. And it was fine for David to sing that stuff 1,000 years before baby Jesus came on the scene. But don't you think our theology should have evolved a little bit right now? What's it going to look like when we start singing from this side of the Jordan River, from this side of the cross, from this side of the promised land? Not begging God to do what he's already done. It's going to look more like a proclamation. It's going to look more like a declaration of truth, man. And that's what I love about Godfrey Birtle. I mean, the guy threw out 80% of the nonsense he used to sing. He started changing the lyrics. I prophesied over Godfrey. I said, Godfrey, you're going to pioneer a whole new genre of Christian music. It's going to be called gospel music. And it was dangerous for Godfrey because he was popular in the UK. He was like the Darlene Check. He was like the Jen Johnson of the UK. And all of a sudden, it's like here he is singing like the opposite of what all the conferences are teaching people. It's just nuts, right? So anyways, the theology is one part of it, but what about the spirit of worship? 9 a.m., Sunday morning. Have to get up. Gotta go worship. You break the alarm clock, you punch a hole in the wall, you kick the dog. A few naughty words to the spouse on the way to church. And then you get there. I've got the joy down in my stony little heart. Now, I want you to think of the same scenario, but in the life of a crackhead. Sunday morning, do you have that term here? Drug user, okay? Sunday morning. Hey, time to get up. I know the last thing you want to do is smoke any crack today, but it's Sunday and we have that big, fat, juicy bag of crack that we need to put away, so we better get down to the crack house. Does the crackhead even bother dressing his kids? Chucks him in the car, loaded diaper, beeline to the crack house. He's smoking up. How is it that a drug user in his worship of a substance puts most Christians to shame in their supposed worship of the living God? Look, worship is not have to. Worship is have to, okay? Worship is an addiction. It is an obsession of its object. You know, some people, they say, I need to be more like Mary, worshiping at the feet of Jesus. No, look, the whole thing about Mary, she got rid of language like, I need to. She wasn't sitting at the feet of Jesus because, well, I need to. She was sitting at the feet of Jesus because she needed to, okay? That is John Crowder's definition of New Covenant worship. Okay, that is it. It is an addiction. It is an absolute obsession, amen? It's not clocking in, praise until something happens. No, you are jacked up on Jesus. Amen?